Hey guys, today we're going to be going over and ranking some ringtones. Me and Elias have never deep dived into our cell phone ringtones, so we thought we'd go through and just listen to them and then just talk about them, give them a ranking 1 through 5, and see what we think. So first up is arpeggio. I think that's pretty cool. I,
It's
I
not bad.
I think that's pretty cool. Honestly, if I was like in a synth punk world, that'd be an awesome ringtone. Um, in like
Yeah,
a
it does
sci-fi
sound kind of
world.
like a video game soundtrack or something.
Yeah, like Far Cry 3 Blood Dragon esque. I'd probably give that like a 4 out of 5,
I'm
personally.
gonna give that. I'll give that a solid 3 as far as ringtones go. I just feel like it's not as much of a ringtone as it is a soundtrack.
You know what? Yeah, you're right. You're right. You convinced me. 3 out of 5. No, you're right. This is definitely more of a soundtrack than anything else. Okay, next up is breaking. I don't like the way it
mm,
vibrates in my hand. It
that's
feels
like a.
feels weird.
It's got a lot of haptic feedback on
Yeah,
it.
it does. Personally, I'm gonna
Nah,
give it a 2 out of 5.
yeah, I was gonna say 2. Like it's kind of annoying, but like for an alarm, I feel like that'd be better than actual ringtone.
True. Canopy.
I don't like that.
What in the fuck? That was like Daft Punk ass fucking
I don't
ringtone.
like that.
Yeah, no,
I don't
I'm
like
giving that a
that.
solid 1 out of 5.
Yeah, that's a 1.
Chalet.
That's not a ringtone.
I'm sorry, but that's putting me to sleep if that's my alarm.
Yeah, that's an alarm for like a nap that I just took in the fucking spa. Like I don't know about that.
I still
I
got to
just
give
feel
it
like it doesn't
better
really
than
serve
Canopy
its
though.
purpose.
So
Yeah, it's a 2.
yeah, two out of 5. Chirp.
Oh,
Oh God.
Jesus. Yeah, I mean it's effective. As far as a ringtone, it's definitely effective,
Oh
but
man,
it's
but
annoying
it's
as shit.
so
So I'm gonna have to give
bad.
it a. I'll give it a 3.
Oh man, for me, I wouldn't be able to stand that. I gotta give it a 0 out of 5, straight up.
I think it gets your attention though. I'm also taking that into account.
Fine, I'll put it up to a 1 out of 5. But like, man, that is rough.
That's just me.
Next up is Daybreak. What is with these shoegaze ringtones?
Yeah, it sounds exactly just like a different chord progression of the same thing. I don't know.
It's like a three out of
Fucking
five. I don't know.
yeah, 2.
Okay, next up is Departure. What in the Owl City? You will not believe your eyes. I mean, if it was supposed to be like a ringtone, I honestly that one's pretty good. Also,
It's very pleasant. It's very
yeah,
pleasant. If you want a pleasant ringtone,
yeah,
for sure, I would
three
give that a
three
3.
three out of 5. Yeah, Dollop.
Dollop. Is it dial up or dollop?
No, it's literally Dollop. D
Like a
O L
dollop
L O
of
P.
like a dollop of mashed potatoes.
Yeah.
That's so funny. I don't know. That's kind of mid too.
I don't know. I kind of liked it. Honestly, I'm kind of willing to give it like a 3. Okay, next up is Journey. I'm sorry, but this is your plain bagel ass fucking ringtone. This is like 2 out of 5 for me.
That's a 1 for me.
Next up is Kettle.
I actually don't hate that.
Yeah, no, it reminds me of Legend of Zelda. Honestly,
I'll
I'm
give that
gonna
a
give this a
4.
4. Yeah, no,
Yeah.
exactly. I'm gonna give this a 4. That was pretty good. Next up is Mercury. We're almost done, by the way. Sounds like when someone drops a steel ball and it bounces for a little bit before like fully like
Uh,
landing.
yeah, I was gonna say it sounds like some fucking hyper pop shit.
I gotta give that a 1 out of 5. Honestly, it would not get my attention straight up. I don't think it
I
would.
like it a little. I like it a little bit. I'm feeling a 3 on that, honestly.
Okay. Next up is sorry. Next up is Milky Way. This is just a JPEG.
Oh shit,
This is just a JPEG Mafia beat.
that's crazy. That's a 5.
Yeah. That is just straight up a JPEG Mafia
That goes
sample.
crazy. Milky Way.
Milky Way.
That goes crazy.
That
Let me
is
sample
nuts.
that.
That's straight up like
That's so
I,
funny.
I would be surprised if someone hasn't sampled that straight up. Quad is the next one.
Quadeca? What the hell? That's way too spaced out.
Yeah, no, this is not getting my attention.
I mean, as a ringtone, I can understand it, but the spacings really bother me.
Yeah, no, I'm gonna give this a 2 out of 5.
Yeah, I'm gonna give it a 2.
Next up is Radial.
Oh yeah, this shit. This is a good alarm.
Honestly,
for sure.
yeah, I would give this a 4 out of 5. Personally, 4 out of 5.
Yeah, I'd agree.
Next up is Reflection, which is the one I use, honestly.
Yeah. I mean, again, this is more of a timer sound than it is like a ringtone for
I
me.
usually
but
use it for timers, so
Yeah, exactly. I think it's effective as a timer. So,
I
I mean,
personally give it a 4 out of 5 because it
Yeah.
always kicks in for me.
Yeah, I would give it a 4.
Next up is Scavenger. This is not what I imagine when I hear the word scavenger. I'm sorry. I think of like Mad Max Fury Road music, like not do 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 do. So I'm gonna give that a 2 out of 5. It's not gonna get my attention.
Yeah,
Uh,
that's some like NPC ringtone shit.
these titles are crazy. Also, next
Mhm.
up is Seedling.
Seedling. Again, like alarm to wake up from a nap
Yeah,
in my 4-story home
seeing the
with my
view,
personal masseuse. Like
seeing the view of the city.
that's a 1.
Yeah, no,
That's not
I
doing
agree.
shit.
1 out of 5. Shelter. That sounds like a breaking news thing, like
That's
breaking
not Shelter.
news.
These titles don't match
They
at
really
all.
don't. Honestly, that was like more like a breaking news. Like you breaking news.
Yeah, I don't know.
I give that like a 2 out of 5.
Just give it a 1.
Next up is Sprinkles. Zero out of 5. Straight up.
Yikes!
Straight up 0 out of
Yikes!
5. that's
I'll give
not.
it a 1 because it would annoy me enough that I would pick it up.
You would pick it up so quickly. You know what? Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
God damn it. You're right. Fuck. Next up is Steps. Yet another nap
Sounds just
ringtone.
like it sounds just like a lot of the other ones.
Yeah, so two out of 5.
1.
This is story time. Is that I kind of like it.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's not bad
It's like almost
actually.
Nordic vibes for some reason.
It's not the worst.
I want to
I'll
give it a
give
3
that
out of 5.
3.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Next up is we only have 5 left. Next up is Tease.
It's just 10 minutes of ringtones. Tizo touchdown?
It's
I
okay.
don't
Honestly,
know.
it's pretty standard. I feel like that would definitely get me up enough, and it's fast enough. Like there's not enough like weird spacing in between.
Yeah.
So for me, I'd give it like a 3 out of 5.
Give it a strong 2.
Next up is Tilt. I'm sorry, this is not waking me up. Straight up, this is not getting my attention or waking me up or anything. That is like the fact that there's one strong part and then everything else is just fading for the rest of it.
Well, I think that's what's so annoying about it is like with my alarm is like I dread
The high
the
note.
next time it comes around because it dies down. Like I'm like anticipating the. So I'm gonna give that a 3 just for effectiveness.
I'm gonna give it a 2. Next up is Unfold.
Like, what am I doing with this? This is
There's
like
more to
what I.
this. Wait,
It's so
this is
involved,
a
but like
whole
it's just
track. This
it's
is
not.
this is some Twin Peaks music.
That's not like a ringtone. That's like
Oh,
actual like
God.
jingle or some like that's a commercial or something. I just feel like it's
If
not a
you're
fucking
taking
ringtone.
Zyrtec,
Like that's not a commercial. I mean, not a fucking ringtone for me.
uh,
That's a 1.
I
That's a
kind of want to
1.
give it a 2 just because of how crazy it
Yeah,
is.
no, it's involved, but like they went way too hard on it for a ringtone.
Yeah,
Like that's I'm not. It's not. I'm gonna let that play out instead of picking up the phone,
yeah, you're right. You're right. You're right.
so it loses points because it's not effective.
Next up, and the last one is Valley. That was it. That hurt. That hurt. That actually
It's
hurt
just
my
that over and
ears.
over again.
No, like literally, yeah, I guess so. Because every time I click it, it just does that once. I have to click that each individual time, so I guess it just keeps looping that.
I mean, yeah,
That
that
would
would
annoy
wake
the
me out of a deep sleep.
fuck out of
That would
me.
wake me out of a deep sleep. That's a 2 because it's effective, but a 2 because it's annoying as shit.
Yeah, yeah. Milky Way so far is the reigning champion, and tune in next week for the classical section of ringtones on Ringtone
Uh,
Reviews.
we just change our channel to just ringtone reviews.
10,
Jesus.
12 minutes.
12-minute
I,
ringtone
I I
review.
need you to just leave that uncut. Just people being like, "What the fuck is happening?"
April Fools.
Hey guys, welcome to the Cosmic Panel, where today we're going to be discussing our polls. But before we get into that, we wanted to give a shout out to Comic Universe. If you've been watching us for a while, you know that they've been sponsoring the channel for a minute. They're a comic shop at 446 McDade Boulevard in Folsom, PA. They got an awesome collection of back issues. They got keys, graded books, and new comics every week. If you guys are in the area, especially within the Philly/Folsom, PA area, definitely check them out. Mike and Mike are amazing, well knowledgeable comic readers, and they've been awesome enough to grant us the sponsorship. So, thank you, Mike and Mike.
They're making some nice layout changes recently, so they're always keeping things fresh, always keeping things interesting. And I want to shout out their dollar bins as well because they have really amazing stuff in their dollar bins. Honestly, like recent stuff that you know is harder to find. So always great deals to be had over at Comic Universe. So please give them a visit, and if you see Mike and Mike, tell them the Cosmic Panel sent you. Don't forget to like, subscribe, comment below what you guys are excited to pull this week, and let's get into our weekly pulls. Lucas, what's your first pick for this week?
So my first poll for this week is Spectacular Spider-Man #2. I actually really enjoyed the first issue. I was happy with Greg Weisman's writing. I found it absolutely hilarious the way that we had Miles and Peter trying to set aside times for them to actually just hang out with any spider arachna. What was it called? Arachna acrobatics or something like that. Oh, arachnobatics. Um,
Arachnovatics, yeah.
and I love the story of of Peter trying to become a coffee regular and going there every fucking week and trying to get Kong to remember him and his order, and eventually he got him to remember his order, but not him. And then eventually it worked. But it's really cool, and we got some cool Jackal stuff, which Jackal hasn't been used in a minute. Never been a huge Jackal fan, straight up, but I mean, it's nice to see this dynamic between both Spider-Men and kind of see them outside of their own books. Honestly, it's nice. It's a welcome change, and I'm excited to see what's going to happen because right now it seems like a pretty standard arc. But I know if I know anything about Greg Weisman, it's that he always builds up to overarching stories very, very well. So let's see where this goes.
Yeah, I'm very curious to see the underlying mystery here. Obviously, everything is not as it seems with Jackal and all that. And based on this cover, it looks like we're going to get some time with Vermin or Vermins. So I'm always excited for some Vermin time. So I'm hoping that's what that is. And yeah, this has a lot of potential. Um, I hope it's I hope it is a little deeper because right now it's just kind of been a fun dynamic, a lot of fun banter. So I'm excited to see this progress.
Elias, what is your first pick?
First up for me is going to be Green Lantern War Journal number 8. I'm happy to see that this series keeps on going. Shows no signs of slowing. Philip Kennedy Johnson doing his thing, giving us a little more of a um, darker, more horrific taste of the John Stewart world. He's been sent away from home, detached now from Ellie and Steele and everyone back in Metropolis, and he is kind of learning more about the Revenant Queen and seeing how there's a war that he was unaware of, all the way across the universe. It looks like his ring can't scan anything about where he is, so this is completely uncharted territory. So that's pretty scary for him. And I'm really just enjoying the story with John's mother, and really surprised to see that he's powerful enough to maintain this Ellie construct, and as he's so far away. So really cool subplot there, really emotional subplot there, and yeah, I've just been enjoying this book a lot, and I'm excited to get into this next issue.
So from what I understood, when he separated that piece of him, that was just like he kind of made Ellie like a real person, um, which is still insane. But
Yeah, it's just impressive power.
yeah, so, so yeah, I'm definitely interested to see what's going to happen. I definitely want to know what's going to happen with Ellie. Um, I'm kind of whatever on the whole stranded on a planet storyline, but the Ellie and John's mother storyline is really interesting. But it's also incredibly sad because like Steele said, it's not going to help cure her. It's just going to make her last days more confusing slash maybe a little bit better, but it's not going to help. You know, it's a band aid on a knife wound.
I think it's a interesting conversation though, and I think it just kind of opens up that conversation to the reader, like putting them in that situation, like what would you want to do, kind of thing. So I don't know. I think it's an interesting discussion, but I don't think it's a black and white situation.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, Lucas, what's next up for you?
Next up for me is Cobra Commander number 4. I didn't really expect this book to be on my list. Same with GI Joe, but Cobra Commander is really fun. They're taking a character that, honestly, as far as I've always known, has always been like a goofball, like Skeletor esque character, and making him incredibly scary. He's this very smart person that knows how to manipulate people in the best way. And last issue was really cool because we basically got an issue of him being tortured and tied up, and every time a new torturer would come in, he would like manipulate them, and then at the end, he had them all fighting each other, and he was just taking all the pain. He wasn't saying anything. He was only saying stuff when he knew he could manipulate them, and yeah, no, it was crazy. And there was this really cool moment where one of the guys, one of the torturers, put like a smile on his face, like on the mask, because they couldn't get the mask off, and it just looked so creepy to see the smile, and then you hear in the background all of them dying from his henchmen, and it's like, oh god, this is fucked. But yeah, he's looking for Energon, and we didn't know, but Cobra Commander has Megatron. Straight up, he has Megatron. He has been holding on to Megatron, and that's basically what he's trying to do. Is he's trying to build weapons for the Cobra Army, and so he's using Megatron as like basically a prototype thing, and he needs more Energon though to power Megatron up. So it's a very very interesting duel. Like these two antagonists are actually kind of overarchingly working together in a way, even though Megatron is quote unquote dead. Like they're still trying to find the Energon to resurrect him. So I'm very interested to see what's going to happen because also I learned more about like Cobra in general, and apparently Cobra is like has like a secret society slash world underneath the Earth, where it's like Cobra people. I never knew about that. Never got deep into GI Joe lore, but from what I understand, Cobra Commander is like the only outsider. He was taken in because of how intelligent he was, and that he forfeited the outside world. And so this is his first time traveling in the outside world in years, and he has encountered some awful fucking people. So, honestly, really good book, really strong.
Cool. I'm glad to hear. Like I said, I had to drop all the Energon stuff, so uh, I'm glad that Cobra Commander's tying into it, and I'm happy to hear that it's going well. And it's Joshua Williamson, so
Exactly.
I had no doubt. How's the art? Is
The art is honestly
the
pretty
cover?
good. It's the exact same artist as the cover,
Okay, cool.
so it's actually really good. Elias, what is next up for you?
Next up for me is going to be Fall of the House of X #4. Um, we had a really good Rise of the Powers of X issue last issue that definitely had a large cliffhanger
Yeah,
um, of Charles just killing Rachel, Rachel Summers. So I don't think it's really the sinister thing that's driving him at this point. I think he is harnessing that, but also just realizing how dire the situation is.
he knows that he needs
Um,
to knock her out before she becomes a problem when she finds out his real plan. That's what I took from it.
well, I think the cards have been put on the table at this point. Like I think with Doug being killed by Rasputin and like all that shit, like Xavier realizes it's going to shit, and Rasputin was shocked obviously as well. So uh, it's pretty crazy that if Charles has to take these big steps to secure the safest future. So I don't know if he's going to go back and kill Moira now, or I don't know what the plan is, but most likely he's going to do that. But yeah, shit's really heating up. I'm enjoying that story a lot more than the kind of surface level stuff that we've been getting on the ground, if you will.
Yeah,
But
Kieran Gillen, bro.
mhm,
Kieran Gillen just always knows how to write like some really existential shit.
yeah. So Cyclops, it looks like this issue we're gonna get more of the Cyclops conflict. So last we saw, he was on the moon with Nimrod. So that's obviously going to be an important conflict. And yeah, I'm hoping we get more answers to that because basically, um, Cyclops now realizes that um, behind all this Orcus stuff was just the looming AI threat. So they're going to start to deal with that, hopefully. And I think we're on a better, at least between Rise and Fall, we're on a better pace with those two books to wrap this event up nicely.
Yeah, do we know when this ends? When this is supposed to end?
Like what month it's supposed to end, or do you mean like what issue?
Like what month? Yeah.
It's supposed to be done in May.
Damn. So next month.
It should be like end of May. I think if anything, the last X Men issue comes out in June, and that'll be the last piece of X media that we get from this era is from X Men itself.
It kind of feels like it's. Huh. I think we'll have to do a retrospective on the Krakoan era or something because it's kind of crazy.
Yeah, for sure.
Definitely going to be interesting for anyone who wants to read the entirety of the Krakoan era to see like the highs and the obvious lows. Like there was obvious weaknesses at times.
I mean, they haven't even announced the omnibus for any of this stuff since since Reign, so Reign of X. So it's going to be interesting to me to see what they include as essential for this era.
Yeah, that's gonna be wild. Especially in the beginning, a lot more issues were essential. As the story got like after Jonathan Hickman left after Swords of X, it definitely got like more sporadic about what was quote unquote essential.
All right, Lucas, what's next up for you?
Next up for me is Kill Your Darlings. This is the final issue. This is the series finale. We finally got an explanation for all the characters, all the backstory, and now we're going to see basically Rose go to war, and she is ready to kill the girl who wouldn't burn, the old witch lady who cursed her and her mother. Um, but yeah, the story has been great. Honestly, it's kind of been surprising how wild it got. especially near the end. It's like since the reveals of stuff. Um, but yeah, we got a reveal of the girl who wouldn't burn's backstory, and then she offered to train Rose because Rose turned out to be a witch. Um, and she didn't know. She thought she was the last of her kind. So for her, she was like, "I cursed you by accident," but little did I realize that you as a witch would turn my curse into something, into a literal entire dimension of reality. So she is terrified of Rose, and Rose is very much done taking shit now. We saw like almost an Attack on Titan esque moment where she, where the lady became giant and basically stepped on everyone, and Rose escaped luckily. But yeah, I'm excited to see how the story is going to end.
Yeah, this went on for longer than I would have expected. This is kind of a newer creative team, right?
Yeah, from what I understand, they weren't
Yeah.
that uh, insanely well known, honestly.
But I'm happy to see that Image is giving newer creators a shot. You know, it's really nice.
Yeah, no, it's cool. I mean, from Knights to this, like honestly, Image has been killing it. Image right now, kind of going hard.
Oh yeah, big time.
Elias, what is your next pick?
Next up for me is going to be Roxon presents Thor #1. This is a really fun idea that I don't think I've seen happen before, but they are releasing an in canon comic to the real world.
Yeah,
I don't know if that's how you, I guess that's
a
the best
comic
way that
within
I
a
can put
comic.
it. But yeah, this is the comic that if you read Immortal Thor 9, you know that Thor just opened up and started reading, and now we're going to see what's inside. It's a very interesting concept. I'm still kind of absorbing it, but I think it's an interesting concept where um, this is sort of taking an aspect of the tale, right, being an important part of mythology, an important part of God's power, and spinning it around to a more um, modern day version, I guess, if you will. But yeah, I think Immortal Thor, this current arc, has been pretty strong so far. I think Dario Agger is very well written. It's cool to see him, cool to see him back. You know, you love to hate him. Yeah, I'm curious to see what else they're going to do with Enchantress and Executioner, but I am most curious about what is inside this book. Based on the synopsis, it's going to be pretty ridiculous.
Yeah,
um, but I'm excited to get into it.
I'm so excited. This is the type of satire that I love. Um, and so I love just how, from what we can tell, this is going to be literally just poking fun at the comic industry, at fucking the far right, like all these different things. I love that
The
it's,
MCU, hopefully.
yeah. I love it how it says, and it's a vital part of the absolution mega event. It's just like, yeah, no, this is the type of shit that comics.
Absolute absolution.
Yeah, it's just like so. Oh my god.
Yeah, I'm glad to see Al doing something. This feels very different for him. Um, but
I felt like there was a
he's
little bit of this in Immortal Thor. I mean, Immortal Hulk with like the Hulk plushies, but like that was just touching on it, or the Hulk
right.
masks.
Right. This is more fleshed out. I think in general, I do like the overarching plot of Immortal Thor, where it's basically that Gaia sees that humanity is unfit and they're running out of time, and so Thor has taken it upon himself to prove that humanity should get a second chance. But obviously, people like Dario Agger are a huge obstacle in that. So I'm curious to see where Enchantress and Executioner, why they came to Dario specifically. I'm curious to get more background on that. But I like this overall arch of like Thor having to prove humanity is fit to survive. Otherwise, Guy is going to wipe them out, or the old gods will anyway. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's great. Honestly, I'm really excited, and I'm definitely interested to see how this is going to affect not only Thor but also Loki, since he is also in this.
All right, Lucas, what's next up for you?
Next up for me is Helen of Windhorn. Um, Helen of Windhorn is really, really good. That first issue was phenomenal. The best way I can describe to this is that it's well, they kind of put in the title, but yeah, it's a love letter to Conan the Barbarian. Surprisingly enough, um, which is not what I expected. Honestly, was not. Basically, the story goes that Helen is the daughter of this renowned comic book writer, um, who used to, whose father was very rich and famous and had this huge house, and so he escaped, had Helen, and then he recently died, and so Helen's now being summoned back to the house, and we have just learned that the reason why he left is because his dad is a monster hunter, and like a monster hunter like Conan esque, where he's like shirtless, has like a giant sword, like it's kind of wild, and it's really funny because Helen is like just like a drunk teenager that doesn't want to deal with any of that bullshit. But it's so funny because it's like the father took his own father and used it as a comic book to then escape living with his father. Uh, but yeah, no, you can tell this is a love story for like old Conan stories, and um, I like the summary saying that it's Conan the Barbarian meets Wizard of Oz because it honestly does feel like that. It's really cool. I'm really excited, and Helen is a very funny character, and we're getting all this from the perspective of her tutor, basically, who was hired by her grandfather to teach Helen. Whether we don't know what yet, but it could be like swordplay, it could be anything. So I guess we'll find out.
Very interesting. Yeah, it's not at all what I would have gathered from the covers.
Very much
Um,
not what I gathered either.
cool. But yeah, I'm definitely interested to hear more about this as it goes. Sounds interesting.
Elias, what's next up for you?
Next up for me is going to be Batman Superman World's Finest number 26. Wow, who would have guessed? 25 was a one shot story depicting the first meeting of Lex and Joker. So just I guess a brief step back before we get into the, the, the nitty gritty of this next arc. So, you know, Mark Waid, Dan Mora are back together on this next arc here, featuring Batmite and Mr. Mixapitalik. So I'm very excited to see what they're going to get into. I think this arc is going to be a ton of fun.
Yeah, I'm very excited to see what's going to happen.
I'm curious to see what's good with this Doommite character and how much of a threat this is going to pose. Because it's a very unique vibe that I got from the sneak peek of this storyline from the annual, where it felt silly, but it also felt like serious at the same time. So it's an interesting challenge that Mark Waid has created for himself, I think, by using these characters. But I think it'll be very impressive once he pulls it off.
Yeah, definitely.
All right. What is your final pick, Lucas?
My final pick is John Constantine Hellblazer, Dead in America. Last issue was amazing. Period. One of the best issues of this run. I caught up recently on all the previous Simon Spurrier, John Constantine run, the one before this, and honestly, reading those really helps with this. It gives a lot of context that you kind of need, to be honest. Um, but last issue was so nice because it had this very unique subplot, while also talking about like Clarice, and her time as the Oracle. But on top of that, they had this great story where basically it's about the American frontier and how uh, this one guy who thinks of himself as like a protector of the frontier. I must stop like the cartels and stuff like that, like a sole actor. Um, Basically camping out the border and basically killing anyone who comes close. And he doesn't realize, but he kills a woman who's unarmed, who's just trying to bring her daughter over, and he sacrifices his life to the spirit. There's this evil spirit that's going after them also for leaving um, Mexico, and then the spirit of the frontier also being angry that another person from another country is coming into America, and so he sacrifices himself so that she can get free. And we don't realize that the book during the book, but the two stories are happening at different points of time. By the end of the story, Constantine by the guy's bones, and we see that there's flowers, and a note from the lady, the daughter that survived, saying that I'm good. Thank you, mom, and thank you, man. Uh, thank you, senor. And it has like what's it called? Stethoscope. Um, basically on the thing to show that she has accomplished her dream, which was to become a doctor. So it's a really touching story, especially as the child of an immigrant, of two immigrants. It really hit home for me, really. Um, but man, Simon Spurrier knows how to write John Constantine. He and I also love there was this one moment in the book where Clarice asked Constantine, like, if you knew my history, if you knew my power that I could see the future, why did you never ask uh, to see yours? And he was like, he was like, because I don't con the con man. Because you don't get to con the con man. You don't get to tell me my future. I get to escape it by my own terms. And it was just like that is so in fucking character of him. He's just like fuck that. I don't want to hear the future because I know that I can fucking change it. So
Yeah.
man, this book has been really good, especially after reading the previous run. It makes it so much more worth it.
Right. That makes sense.
But yeah, Elias, what is your final pick?
My final pick for this week is going to be Wonder Woman #8. We're back again with the main team, Tom King and Daniel Sampier. We're going to get into the Sovereign. So I'm very curious to learn more about this filthy, awful character. Uh, he's definitely intriguing, and represents all that Wonder Woman stands against, especially in these times. So, like we've said on the channel before, this series has been super strong. Still getting those backup Trinity stories, which are fun. But yeah, I mean, this book has just been knocking it out of the park for me every time. There hasn't been an issue that I've disliked, and I'm excited to get back into the heat of things with this next issue.
Yeah, I'm excited to see how it's gonna go. Because the last issue that was pertinent to the story had that crazy cliffhanger of her fighting off basically all her villains and then passing out, but passing out on purpose, um, so that she could be captured by the Sovereign and finally meet him. And then the issue after that was the fun issue about Bruce. um, which I'm not gonna lie, I really like the parking ticket joke, and then I also love the fact that he just threw the diamond. He was just like, here you go, put it in an orphanage. I don't need it.
Yeah,
Um, but yeah, I love that the simplest present for a Batman was just photos of his friends, which sounds corny as fuck, but it works. But yeah, no, Sovereign, really interesting villain, has really been set up as this really unique character, and the Lasso of Lies. I'm interested to see how that's going to conflict with the Lasso of Truth. Because we do know that Wonder Woman or Trinity somehow they get the Lasso of Lies and they give it to Trinity. So and then we also have the third lasso that we don't know anything about yet. So I'm interested to see what's going to happen. Oh wait, unless it's Donna Troy's lasso, it might be Donna Troy's lasso. Actually, now that I think about it, because she has a lasso of submission.
yeah. Tom is setting up like new lore basically for the Wonder Woman mythos, so it's pretty cool. I definitely trust him to come up with something interesting, come up with something compelling here. But yeah, I'm very excited to get some answers from this issue.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting to say the least. Anyway, that'll be all for us for this week. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. Remember to like, subscribe, support your local comic shop, and read comics. Until next time, bye bye.